Hey,
Oh,
everybody. We are live on this Monday night after the longest volleyball weekend at Big South, which was entirely way too large, way too many courts. And um, it was a whole lot of walking, and it was really difficult to get in and out. That's just my little 2 cents in a nutshell, which I'll expand on later. But tonight, we're joined with Jen Cottrell from Legacy, as well as Kate Kalzinski and Lexi Coleman, who play on the 16s and 14s. So, super excited to have you all on tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Lexi, you sound like you're crying. Poor thing. Okay.
no, she sounds like winning.
Yeah.
That's what winning sounds like.
I know. I will say, Lexi, one of the fun things about watching you play is when you have like an amazing swing and you come down, you're like, yeah, I did that. Like, did you see what I just did? Like this little tough girl. Like, I love your attitude and your demeanor on the court. It's really badass. So I will say that it's really fun to watch you all play. But cool. All right,
Yeah.
Chris, dive in.
Well, I mean, speaking of your demeanor, Lexi. Okay, I was gonna get to this much later, but we can just throw that out. We're gonna jump in. Kara's talking about your reaction when you have these big kills and these big swings. I'm actually way more impressed when you get housed and then you just kind of smile and shake it off like, yeah, did you see that? Like, I just got blocked like really bad, and it's like no big deal. That's a really, really cool attribute. Is that like something you're conscious of, or just what do you tell yourself? Is it just, I think a lot of people can kind of learn from your mentality and just kind of stay relentless and just kind of shrug and laugh it off.
Yeah, I come into the game, like, I know A5 is a really good blocking team, and I come into the game knowing that I'm definitely going to get blocked and I'm going to mess up. And when that happens, I just expect it and embrace it.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm like, uh-oh, this is kind of like a scary person, You don't see that like from very many people, especially in the younger ages. I've been covering the sport for a little bit of years, and it's like it's a very special thing. So, like I said, that's one of the things that probably most stands out about your play to me. So I wanted to get a little insight, So yeah, thank you.
Okay. What for Kate, do you want to talk a little bit about the weekend for you and just a little bit about the success over the weekend and how you all competed?
Yeah, I think, well, we've been working really, really hard at practice, and I think like we've had like points of focus, and I think this weekend it gave us like confidence. I mean, personally, like that we're finally getting there, and I think we still have a lot to like improve on, but this is a good starting point for us.
Yeah, definitely have a few more questions about that, but we're going to put that on a momentarily hold here. But one of the reasons we invited the Legacy gang on is the incredible weekend that they did achieve at Big South. You had the 14s take first place, win it all in 14 Open. You had 16s go undefeated in 16 Open, win it all. Your 12s took second in National. Your 13s took third in Open, and your 15s really, really were far behind. They tied for fifth in 15 Open. So I mean, that's just an incredible weekend. And for you, Jen, to just kind of see the club success, what does a weekend like this mean, and how do you kind of put it in perspective?
Yeah, I know. I was just actually talking to Ricky about it, that, we just posted that all of our open age teams are all qualified. And It's really, you got to look back 10 years ago and we were happy to get 1 or 2 teams qualified. So we're just super proud of all of the athletes. They put a lot of time in the gym for practices. They put a lot of their own time in away from the gym, lifting, working out, jump training, mental training, lessons, position training. Super proud of our coaches. They also do the same thing. I mean, an endless amount of sacrifice from both of those groups of people to, achieve something of that status. But ultimately, I think, the competition just breeds in our gym, right? We've got a bunch of gritty kids and a competitive culture, and it's just driving, the individual athletes and the teams to just continue to, improve and raise the bar and compete at the highest level. So, it's like, well, if our 14s do well, it's driving our 13s and 15s to get better. If our 17s are doing well, which hopefully they would have did well, but they weren't there this weekend because our setter got a concussion at MEQ. But, all of that drives them to continue to improve, and our coaches too. So we're just really grateful for, great athletes, great coaches, great families, and a really, really positive, competitive environment in our gym.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that 10 years ago you were really happy
Yeah.
to qualify one team. In kind of a brief summary, I mean, what was the the challenge or something you guys had to overcome in order to really kind of build the club up to where it is now?
Yeah.
Give us a little insight.
Yeah, for sure. So in Michigan in 2000, before 2010, we played high school volleyball in the winter. So our athletes started playing club volleyball in March. So we couldn't compete nationally, even though we had the athletes, we were just too late to the game. So in 2010, it changed, and it took some time for us to, get these players in the gym and get them training more and playing volleyball year round. And then so slowly but surely, 2013, we won our first AAU national championship. First time we qualified an open team in that year. So it took a couple years. And then you can see after that, each year we just kind of continued to escalate, our individual play and our team, team system play just from, you can look at Kate and Lexi, they haven't known anything different, right? And the athletes that they are trying to model, Jess Maruzic, Harper Murray, since they're both outsides, they didn't know any different either. So they're following in their footsteps, learning from them, watching them compete. And so that's just, trickled down. Now we have 10s and 11s doing the same thing. So we really think it was, the seasons changing here in Michigan that helped obviously project us up to where we are now.
Were you all involved in the advocacy to make that happen?
No, we weren't. It was actually 2 moms from Grand Rapids. I don't know if it's Evelyn is their last name. She had 2 daughters go play college volleyball. I don't remember the other lady's name, but they advocated for it and pushed it through. So it's pretty cool, but necessary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of been the harder challenge, building the club up or trying to now maintain kind of the sustained success you've enjoyed through, kind of all the age groups, really?
Yeah. I mean, I think 2 completely different challenges. Building it up is fun, because you're working hard and you're getting the results. So you're, getting rewards for your hard work. Sustaining it, there's a little bit more pressure, right? And so, we hope our girls don't feel it, but I know they do a little bit. I know Kate could probably speak to that. She's, all of our other teams qualified, a month ago, and our 16s team was kind of dangling out there and, got 5th, lost 1 match, got 5th, got knocked out and missed the opportunity. So, I think you start to feel pressure to continue, the success. And so I think that's a little bit more stressful, but also at the same time, fun in embracing that. That's, kind of what we talk about is that pressure is a privilege. We need to embrace it. not shy away from it. It's an honor to have it, all those things. So it's just different. Watching it grow was, super rewarding and fun. And now sustaining it, it's a different fun, but a little bit more pressure and stress.
Do you look back at those early days and think back to things that you did and just kind of chuckle a little bit? Like, I can't believe we did that. I've been doing that all day today. So I'm just wondering, like, do you look back and go, why did we do this? Or how did this happen? And laugh about it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hindsight, right? Like, obviously now I would go back and do some things different. You make mistakes along the way, but it's all part of your journey, right? You make a mistake and you learn from it and you do it different the next time, So yeah, it's a little nostalgia, but what's crazy too about looking back is, the social media, the videos, the pictures and all that. We didn't have it, So we'll go back to say, like, okay, like let's get the video from 2018 Triple Crown Championship. And we're like, oh, we don't have any. Like, it's crazy, like how much it's changed in 5 years or, 10 years. But yeah, absolutely. Especially because myself and Brian and Aaron, who run the club, I mean, we're in our 40s. So we've been around 20 years. We were in our 20s trying to figure this out, and so we clearly made some, mistakes along the way.
For Kate and for Lexi, Jen brought up obviously Harper and Jess and, some big time recent recruits. You have Campbell Flynn too. And I know you guys are outside, so you didn't really mention her because she's a setter. But to see how they've gone through the club and now what they're doing at the collegiate level, or Campbell about to do. But what sort of inspiration or influence or impact do they have on you guys right now?
Yeah, I think for me personally, like I really like watching like how they lead, and like I know that's been one main focus for me is like trying to figure out how to be like a better leader on the court. And I think watching them is like it just puts in perspective like what I could get to, and I think that is something that I'm like striving to become better at.
Actually, Kate, before you go, Lexi, Kate watched the Final Four after MEQ and watched how Jess responded to her errors. And that's funny because you were talking to Lexi about that earlier. And it's not how you respond when you get a kill, but what do you do when you get blocked? What do you do when you shank a ball? And so Kate has actually like studied Jess and her leadership, which I think is really powerful. So sorry, Lexi, didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no, you're fine. I really look up to Jess Merzick, and because she's not the tallest outside out there, and I'm definitely not the tallest, so I really look up to her and how she just plays like she's one of the tallest, and she doesn't play like she's short or scared, and she just goes out there and bangs, and isn't scared of all the tall middles or the other outsides or anything like that.
Yeah. Jen, go ahead.
Do the girls, Jen, come back to the gym often? Like, do you get the opportunity to bring the alumni back? I know, obviously, after the Final Four, everybody kind of goes home. Do the girls come back and obviously try and get some training there? And how do you incorporate that into the culture and the environment for the up and coming girls?
Yeah, we they do come back and it's really fun. It's generally around their Christmas break, and then again they'll come back in the spring when they're done. And a lot of times they want to be together. So like Harper, she'll want to be with her former teammates, and Jess is getting kind of old, so some of her teammates are done and not playing anymore. But we obviously they're always welcome in our gym, and it's Harper and Jess specifically have quite the fan base. And so we had them in the gym and had Harper in the gym in December, and it was pretty distracting having her in there. But, she just wants to get in there and play and train and compete and, be around the girls. But yeah, they come back and they love coming back and love seeing each other. And then they'll go out to dinner and sleep over somewhere. And, we just want the girls to be around them and soak that in. Our 16s, Kate played an alumni team right before Christmas break, so they got to compete against them. And they'll come back and they'll do some lessons. Jess will be back. Jess only had 5 days off in between the tournament and her League One or Love season, which is crazy. But she's going to come back and do some lessons and trainings and stuff in May. So so they're very present in our gym, and not just them, but all of our alumni, and they're all really great with the girls, interacting with them. So, yeah.
Well, our 10-year-old has decided that Harper is now her favorite player, and bugs Kara. Can you text her? Can you text her? Can you text her? And Kara's like, what do you want me to do? Like, you want me to text her and say, can you talk to this 10-year-old who's obsessed with you? Because no, she has a life. Like, come on.
So special, though, for them to have a role model, and especially for Kate and Lexi being in their position, just to have somebody to look up to on and off the court, super special.
What does it do to have kind of those alumni for the club? I mean, how do you go about referencing them? Because obviously not everybody in the club is going to be at their level.
Right.
So are you careful with how you throw them in and how you use them as examples and that sort of stuff? How do you balance that?
Yeah, obviously they're, our, most recognizable alumni, they've been on the biggest stage. And so naturally, they get on our social media more, and they're, the girls know them. But, we also have some really special alumni that, were with our club from 10s to 18s, and not all of our players are going to go play in the Big Ten either, and so maybe for Kate and Lexi, those are two really good role models, but for some of our other players, that's not their route, and that's rare. 1% of probably our athletes are going to go play, in the Final Four or at Nebraska or Texas or wherever, so we try to encourage that relationship of, just acknowledging kind of the best, route for our athletes being with those alumni as well. So, we try to support, we post like our alumni in our D3, tournament and the D2 tournament, so we're trying to promote all levels, and all of our alumni, but naturally, when you have Nebraska's fans, and Harper has 250,000 followers or something, it's just naturally going to kind of lead itself that way. So, to each his own, and we try to, kind of have some lanes and line up the girls with appropriate alumni that are also really wonderful and mentor them as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
So speaking of our 10-year-old, for Kate and Lexi, Kiki, she had her first travel tournament a few weeks back. She went to MEQ, and that was fun. And then they have actually Lone Star coming up this weekend, and they play Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So she's gonna start to hit where she starts to miss a lot of school for volleyball and stuff. I'm kind of curious how you guys handle the travel and the schoolwork. Do you bring stuff with you? Are your teachers understanding? Like, how do you go about that aspect of it that doesn't get a lot of attention?
And I have one last question to add to that. Does your school have rules about how many days y'all can miss? Because we have these crazy rules here that we need doctor's appointments. I'm going to start becoming Dr. Hill. So I can write these notes to clear school. So I just want to add that as well.
I actually got an email today, like 2 hours ago, that's like, you have this many tardies. Like, if you have one more, you have a detention. So I did a lot of school, but my teachers are very understanding, and like, I'll have to take some of my schoolwork to the tournaments, and I'll have to like do it in the plane, or like morning I flew home and like I had to do it in the plane because I had no other time. But my teachers are very good with like giving me extra days to finish everything.
My school just wrote a new rule for next year that students are missing too much school for sports.
Oh,
So luckily I won't be there. But personally, my teachers, some of them are understanding, but some of them aren't. So I just try to cram in as much schoolwork as I can. And if I have questions, like I email them, maybe a little too much. And they try to answer me back as fast as they can. And I just try to find what time I can.
I'm curious if your teachers, have you had teachers that have actually had an opportunity to watch you girls play and really understand how competitive you are? I would be curious if any of the teachers quite know the level that you're at.
I don't think so. One of the subs I've had has seen me play. Her daughter is on our 10-1 team, I think.
Yeah, none of my teachers I think do. I mean, obviously for high school they'll watch, but like they don't know about the club. And like my one teacher has a daughter who finally plays only like she plays high school volleyball, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so much." I'm like, "It's not even club." Like so I don't know. It's just like yeah. I don't know.
when you do travel for these tournaments, I mean, obviously there's the volleyball component you got to play, but outside of the volleyball stuff, I mean, what are some things you really enjoy? What are some things that are memorable for you, or you look forward to?
Hmm. Um, I like hanging out with friends. I think whenever I have time, I like to go to my friend's house, maybe go shopping, and like if I have a lot of time, I will like binge watch a show with my mom or something, like just kind of chill at home or like hang out with my brother, like play a board game because me and him love to play board games all the time. So that's about it.
Yeah, I like in the little time that I have, I like hanging out with friends. And then if I have like a whole day off, I sit on the couch and watch TV the whole entire day.
That's awesome. Kara's new thing is going to the springs and soaking in mineral baths. We have a lovely place not too far from our house.
Oh, that's cool. We're not
It
so
is
lucky in Michigan. No.
cold and all wet.
Yeah, you have
Maybe in
ice baths. It's called just going outside.
right. In the summer, I'm sure you guys do more, right? Because it's nicer out and there's a
Yeah.
lot of lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
More time.
maybe.
Maybe.
Mm. Are
Okay,
you
Lex,
guys go ahead.
what's your volleyball ick, Lexi?
When people say spike,
Ah, yes.
You don't
I
like when they say spike?
no.
There's a whole
Spike and then
club called
bump.
Spike and
Bumps,
Serve.
bumps right after spike.
If Jen came to you tomorrow and said, "I'm changing the club name to involve Spike," how would you feel about
Gosh.
that?
It's not going to
That'd be
happen, Lexi, so
awful.
don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think Legacy's probably too well grounded at this
Yeah.
point to change it. Mhm.
Hey, what about you?
Definitely the bumps that spike, like the things that they got like on a sweatshirt, like that. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't like that.
Kind of lame. Got you.
Well, by about noon or 1 o'clock on a Sunday on day 3, everything is my volleyball ick.
Right.
What did I tell you, Kara, yesterday? I'm like, well, I'm at the point where everybody is stupid and annoying and just ready to be out of the gym. So
Well, you don't like the parents like talks, like everything that's going on. They're loud. It's been a long weekend. Big South was tough. It's tough to get in and out. That convention center is so big and it's so hard to get in and out. Like we couldn't even go out and enjoy lunch day 3 and like take a little breather before, because there was just no way. Like by the time you get out and then try and get back in, your time's gone. So I think as the weekend gets going, it gets under your skin when the parents have certain things that they say. I heard a dad this weekend who was yelling, power, power. And I'm like, what is power? What are we saying power to? He just kept screaming power. And I'm like, what the hell does this mean? What are you talking about? So yes.
That's amazing. Are you guys into food much? Kate and Lexi, are you guys like into like big time food? Have you guys traveled, or are there places you like to go out to, or?
Well, usually every tournament, I didn't this tournament, I always have spaghetti and meatballs after the first day.
Oh.
And I've done that for 2 years now.
Okay. So that's
well, you had a pretty good weekend. Maybe you should stop eating spaghetti and meatballs after day one.
I'm thinking about that right now.
What about you, Kate? Do you look forward to does your family, do you guys all do team dinners every weekend when you're out? Like, is that organized? So do you guys go places together, or do you do stuff on your own with your family? How does that work for you all?
Usually, if it's a 3-day tournament, we'll have 2 team dinners, and then we'll do some like team bonding after. But if I'm in the convention center, my mom is a dietitian, so my lunch is like, I don't know, I have a lunchbox, and I always ask her like what to eat because she knows. But I've also been trying to like, I don't know, like have like food that will like energize me more, and I think she's like good with that. Like she'll help me kind of pick and choose. Like the day before I play, I always have chicken and rice, like every single time. It's like all I eat the day before. So
Prepared the same way? Is it always the same way that it's prepared, or do you ever change up like the seasoning and that kind of stuff?
No, it's usually from like different restaurants, but whatever's in the city, I'll probably get.
Okay, so you look for chicken and rice.
We need you to talk to Kiki, because the day before a tournament, Kiki thinks Dr. Pepper, cupcakes, and ginger ale is like the go-to.
That's what I think.
So what snacks are you packing, Kate, on a tournament day?
Yeah.
Let's see. I like applesauce. I like my Cliff Bars. What else? I like my goldfish, my pretzels. Usually I have like fruit or some sort, like banana, orange. And then my new favorite thing is like having apples and peanut butter. That's like my new favorite thing.
Oh.
So yeah, those are just some of them.
Did your mom get one of those like Amazon lunchbox? Like, I'm loving these Amazon lunchboxes that I'm seeing that have all the little like containers, and they're like pre-packing like all their stuff. That seems like a horrible job. So I'm not trying to give anybody any team ideas that you should do this for your team, because that sounds miserable for the team parent, but they're really cool. Does your mom pack those? Like, and is it just for you? Like everybody's on their own for food?
Not for volleyball tournaments, but for school, I'll have like we bought like 5 of them, and me and my brother shared them, which is funny, but yeah. I think one of my teammates has one that she always has in the morning. That's kind of funny, but yeah.
No, they are really, really cool, but they throw me for a loop. I think of like arts and crafts. Yeah. So I expect to see like arts and crafts stuff, and then walking by, and I'm like, why is everybody doing arts and crafts at volleyball? And then I see them pull food out, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's a food container.
Are you all doing pin parties? Jen, are you hosting these clip parties at Legacy? We're not doing any clipping. Are you allowed to clip?
Yeah, I mean, some of our teams have done it, but no, we're not like organizing it. If they do it on their own, that's one thing. But I just feel like we don't even have time. Like, we're training, and, they're working out, and we're doing film, and it's like some of our younger teams, I think, are into it a little bit more. But I was going to tell you too that Kate's mom coaches for us. She coaches our 15s2 team. So it's like, here's your food. And like, I'm not going to be here sometimes because I'm going to be coaching. So you're on your own, feed yourself.
Yeah. we're on the food subject. Obviously, we were in Indianapolis last week. Jen, do you do the shrimp cocktail? Are
Okay,
you into
so Ricky, my husband and 16's one coach, he's obsessed with Harry and Izzy's, which is right next to St. Elmo's. But I have a shellfish allergy, so we don't do the shrimp. But he likes the toasted ravioli from Harry and Izzy's.
Oh,
So if you haven't had that, check it out next time. They're free advertisement for Harry and Izzy's.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Lexi, I'm not sure if you've been to Indy yet because of the
Yeah.
the age groups there. But Kate, do you ever go to Harry and Izzy's or St. Elmo's? Are you into the shrimp cocktail? Have you tried it at all?
We went to the Harry and Izzy's last week as a team. It was really good, but it did take like 2 hours because there was like 20 of us because all the parents came, all the coaches, all the players. But it was actually really good. And I'm kind of a picky eater, so I wouldn't have like seafood, but I get like basic stuff on the menu.
Chicken and rice. Chicken and rice.
Yep. Chicken and rice.
Yeah. And Lexi goes because we play Central Zone. We play Central Zone Invite.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Have you had the shrimp cocktail then?
No, I've not.
Oh, okay.
okay.
I'll have to try.
Well, someday.
You're missing out. You're missing out. Where do you go when you all do your team dinners at in Indy? What did you all do this past well, for Central Zone, Lexi, what did you all do? Do you know what you do in Indy?
Yeah, I think we went to like this place called the Eagle. And I honestly don't remember what it looked like or what I ate.
Okay. If you weren't playing volleyball, what would you be doing?
Sleeping a lot more.
Probably, yeah.
Sleeping. Would you play any other sport?
I used to play softball for a while. I quit 2 years ago for volleyball.
Okay.
Probably a good choice.
What about you, Kate? We don't know. She could have been a stud on the softball field. Were you a stud on the softball field too?
You know, if she was better at softball than you were at volleyball, you probably wouldn't have stopped playing. Is that a safe guess?
Sometimes
it was close.
Oh, okay. Okay. I got to see some old highlights.
I just like volleyball more.
Okay.
What about you, Kate? What if you weren't playing volleyball, what would you be doing now?
That's hard. Probably getting all my schoolwork done, like all the time at home, like just getting it done. I don't have to like worry about it after practice. But if there was a sport, probably soccer or basketball, because those were the other two sports I played. But then I realized I did not like them, so I liked volleyball more. So obviously I picked volleyball, but I would play one of those two sports instead.
Jen, what do you think is the next big evolution that you see happening in club volleyball?
Oh,
wow. Well, if I had a crystal ball, I don't know. Evolution. That's a tough one. Put me on the spot. I mean, I can't believe how much the social media has evolved, and just, the microphones and the, cameras. And I mean, we've got somebody at every tournament taking videos and pictures, and the girls on the sidelines are doing it. And, so I'm sure it'll be something where, we're already mic'd up, I don't know, but I'm sure there'll be some type of AI, something related with social media and marketing in some way of the athletes to evolve. That'd be my guess.
I like it.
Yeah.
I can't believe we got this far and we haven't even really talked about some of the special stuff why we brought you guys on for. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and get to that. Kate, we mentioned the weekend that the 16s had. They went 10-0, didn't lose a set. Really amazing accomplishment. But let's go back a little bit because it was at the end of February, beginning of March. You guys were at Sunshine, and you're in day 3 Gold Pool, and you're in a really good position to advance and put yourself in to play for a bid. You had a great first set. The team had a great first set against A5, and then came back and lost a couple really close deuce sets in game 2 and game 3. That was your only loss of the weekend, and it kept you from playing for a bid. And what's it like? How tough is it to be so close right there and know you kind of had it in under your control, and then next thing you know, you're like, your weekend's done?
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, that game still hurts, but I think that was probably one of the best learning games of the season. I mean, after that game, like the first day of practice, we watched film and like learn from it, and I just think it also like sparks like motivation in our team. Like even this past weekend, like walking into day 3, like we were in the huddle and we are just like, okay, we can feel it. Like this is our day. Like it just like I don't know, like we've like failed, I feel like in the past, but like it's finally like building up, and I think we're finally getting there. And like obviously we still have like tons to improve on, but I think that failure has like helped us get here, because if we just kept like winning and winning, like we wouldn't learn and like know what it's like to go to 3 sets, because the first like 2 tournaments of the year, it was like we went to 3 every single time, and like we finally are like learning how to like finish, and like we're just getting better and better. And like I think this weekend finally like showed how like our hard work has like been improving at practice. And I think it was really good that we lost, even though that game still really like hurts, I guess. But
Yeah, because your guy, the team was at MEQ the weekend before Big South, and you had another tough loss on day 3 in 3 to OT. Was there any sort of different conversation, or what was the conversation about headed into this weekend at Big South?
I think it's like we talk a lot about not focusing on getting the bid and taking like it one game at a time, and also taking care of like, practice. Like we've worked a lot on like bettering our first contact, and I think focusing on those small things was like our main focus going into Big South. And like obviously we couldn't really change anything because it was like 1 week of practice and like all, but I think it was like training our minds to become better, because that's what we lack. Like our physicality is there, just like we got to like get stronger mentally, and I think that's finally like improving. But
Yeah, one of the crazy things I thought about 16 Open was there turned out to be no trickle down. So I mean, Jen, how rare is that to see no trickle down in a division at Big South? I mean, that does not happen very often, I don't think.
Yeah, honestly, I think this 16 division, and not taking anything away from the teams that have qualified, but it's not the traditional teams, I feel like, that, have qualified at the early qualifiers. So then you get to, this point, end of March, and you have Storm, A5, and us, who all don't have bids yet, so that's rare. But at the same point, you got to earn it, right? So, we were fine with that. And okay, we've worked hard to get to the semis. Now we got to keep going, and so instead of it, feeling like a little bit like it's handed to you, you gotta go get it. And that's only going to help us in the long run to have that pressure on us in those big matches, and finding a way to perform and execute.
Mm-hmm. And Kate, to finish the weekend off against a team like Arizona Storm, and be able to sweep them, what was that feeling like?
I think we really just wanted to win. Like we won the semis, and we're like, okay, we just keep going, like one set at a time, like we're getting this done. Like, and I mean, Arizona team, like they're an amazing team, and like I think we've been motivated to like play them, and like that's one of our like goals, is like to get to that point. And I think just like motivated, like we all looked at each other, we're like, hey, we're, like give it all, like just give it like all we got, and like we'll see like what happens. And I think that game will give us a lot of confidence, but also like shows us like we need to work on some things too.
It's funny, at the beginning of the year, we were talking about goals, and one of the first goals they came out with was beat Storm. And we were like, okay, well, that's great, but the 16 Open is the grind, and we're not going to focus on, beating one team. So, but kind of cool that they got the opportunity to do it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Kara, do you have any of your fun questions to interject before we move to 14s?
No, I'm ready for 14s.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let's kind of set the stage. A5 has been on a tear this season. They won 13 Open last year. Both AAUs and USAV. They came in. They had an amazing Triple Crown. They won Northern Lights. So obviously everybody knows who they are. They have Kari Knotts, who's an amazing player. But their middle too, she's a 7th grader, which is insane too. I don't know how many people know that, but Middleton's a 7th grader, and you're like, okay, that's kind of just a special. If you do the eye test of A5 versus Legacy, you're like, okay, half the team, if not 3/4 of the team of A5 is taller than Legacy. So right, A5 wins every hitting line imaginable. They probably win hitting lines against 15s and 16s teams if you put them up against it. But one of the things that really stood out was this was a final on day 3, and all, like always, the courts are behind. And I've been at Big South before for finals where like the convention center is cleared out, and it's quite often where you have finals going on day 3, and it's like the parents and that's it, and people are tearing down courts. But like what really stood out was the amount of people that were around that 14 Open final. I mean, they're 4 and 5 deep on the sideline. There was people on the court behind standing on chairs to peer over. I mean, it was hard to get a spot. And I mean, Jen, what was your thoughts on just that? That's one thing that really stood out to me, was just the amount of people that were still there watching that.
Yeah, because it was at 4:00, I think, the match. Yeah. And most people, I mean, we tell our family 6 p.m. flights, or later. And so, most of our 16s team was racing out of there to get to their flight. So yeah, I was surprised too when I got over there just to see, the audience, I guess. But, for A5, they're drivable, right? They're in Atlanta. So I think it was a pretty pro A5 crowd. They're not like us who's trying to race out of there and catch our flights home. So, but I think, that was a match, an epic match to, and I think that it deserved that, and deserved that audience and that attention and that, excitement. So I'm glad it was what it was, for sure.
I love that you got up. I think it was after, maybe it was during the second set, and you're like, energy. Like you parents need to step it up, and we need to be screaming and shouting, and we need to cheer. It was really cool to just see you like go across and get everybody to motivate. And then they did, and they were loud, and they were, excited for the team and rooting them on. I was not totally thrilled because the lady next to me was screaming in my ear. So that was not a cool thing. But it was really cool to see. And I have some incredible content from that match that I'm excited to see.
Yeah. Well, the 14s had qualified the week after Triple Crown out at Sunshine, finished runner-up to Mad Frog. And out there, you beat OT 14s, Jody's team, on day 2. You faced off with them in the semifinals in a crazy match that you ended up winning 17-15. Also, to win pool, you faced Dynasty again, and Dynasty beat you in the quarterfinals of Triple Crown. So before we get to the final, Lexi, just kind of talk about those two matches. To play Dynasty again, it's always fun to play a team you've lost to and get a chance, and then just to have another clash, and then that semifinal match going 17-15 in the third.
Yeah, we've always had like a hard time with that team. Last year we lost them, beat them, lost them, beat them, like kind of back and forth, stuff like that. and I teased. We lost to them and in 3, and when I saw them in our pool the morning, I told my team, I go, hey, like, we can do this. We can beat them. Everyone, we all want to beat them. We have nothing to lose. Like, let's just go out, play our game. And we did. And it was an exciting match. And then OT, we've played them 3 times, I think, now.
Yeah.
And they're a tough team to play. And we just all had to focus, lock in, and beat them again. And it was really hard. They're a good team, and we had our moments where they had a run and we had to catch back up, and we did, and that's just what we do.
Do you lose your voice? Do you lose your voice like each day or after each tournament, or how does this work exactly, Lexi? No voice at this point. So, at what moment does the voice go with the intensity that you play with?
Day one, I try to be excited, yelling, we need energy, because it's not the biggest matches, but still, I think we went to 3 in one of them, so I try to be loud. I lose my voice a little bit. Second day, a little louder, lose it a little bit more, and then third day, I just go all out and don't care, just lose it all.
Gotcha.
Going into that final against A5, was there any pregame talk? I mean, what was the focus on? What did the coach talk to you about? What did the girls say to each other?
The coach, we have a great coaching staff, and he just said, let's win it, let's do it. Nobody does this, nobody beats A5. We can do it, let's do it. Just play like us. We can do it. And then the players, I told myself and the team, against Dynasty, this team, everyone wants to beat them, and we just have to go out. We have absolutely nothing to lose. If we lose, it's fine. But if they lose, it's a huge deal we win. And that was the main focus for me. Just ball out.
We're obviously going to talk a lot about you in that match, but before we get to that, I mean, you don't win a match like that on your own, right? I mean, you're not setting yourself, you're not passing yourself. So without your teammates and some of the plays they were making, and the middles coming through with really big kills, and then there were some really big blocks, and I can't think of her name. I want to say maybe it was number 11 on the right side. She had a monster stuff at one time. I mean, just talk about, kind of the team contributions it takes in a match like that, and how exciting it is when everybody is kind of doing their thing.
I'm so thankful for the group of girls that we have, and on and off the court, we all get along. And sometimes somebody will be off, and it's fine. People carry them. But yesterday, our passing was on, setting was on, blocking was on. Riley, number 11, she did really well. Stella, or Lib, she passed or received really well. Bristol, number 10, she dug really well. Kay, our setter, our middles, everyone just came together and played the best that we've played really this year. And we all just came together and won because we all wanted the same thing and had the same goal.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I know I look extremely young, so thank you for sharing that. But I've seen a lot of matches in my day, and that was a special match. That was a really good match, and especially for 14s. But what really makes a volleyball match amazing is when points are ending on amazing plays and big plays and positive plays and winners, versus missed serves and airs and stuff, right, where it's kind of sloppy. But when you have teams just going back and forth, boom, big kill, next team side out, big kill or big block, I mean, that's when the energy really starts to build, and you're like, oh my God, this is like, what am I watching here? And if somebody hasn't seen this match, go pay the money on Baller TV, go watch it. I don't know, find a bootleg copy. I don't know, do whatever you got to do. You got to check this match out. But you know, the first set, Legacy pulls it out 31-29. What's the emotion like right there that's going on?
Gosh, we were so excited, like so stoked, and because we've never taken a set off that team, and it was just like already like history, like we just did that, like now we know like we can beat them again, and everyone was excited, but like they had like multiple game points, and somehow like we just brought it through, tied it back up, got the lead, and then won. And we just all had to like stay focused, do our job, and just pull through.
Mm-hmm.
I think such a huge confidence builder. You know, I don't know if they lose that first set, you know, if they win that match, honestly, because it's an uphill climb, you know. So I think that winning that first set was so critical to, you know, winning that match. Just such a huge confidence builder for them.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I still didn't think you were gonna win the match.
Oh,
You know, I mean, I'm like, that's awesome. You know, it was like a really good set, but then at a certain point, it's like, okay, you guys came at him with everything you had. You barely got through. And then A5 responds, they win the second set 25-20. And I was like, okay, A5 is going to be A5. You know, this third set's probably going to be over pretty quick. But then I think
say these things. Why are you saying these things?
I'm allowed. They're my thoughts, you know. I mean, obviously, I was wrong, so it's like I can tell on myself being wrong. They did an amazing job, and then Legacy gets up, you know, 8-4. Then you're down 11-9, and you're down 13-12, and yet then you find a way. So what's going on in that third set, and just what are the girls saying anything to each other? What's going through your mind?
Well, like to each other, we're just trying to get each other pumped, and when a good play happens, like get the most excited that we can to try to keep that roll going. And I think we just all realized like 8-4, we were like, oh my gosh, like we can do this. And then 11-9, I think we realized that we can do this. Like, let's go, foot on the gas, and come out. Like, I think our coach called a timeout, and we just all said, like, get at it, go, just do our thing. Going through my mind, I think it's just, for me as an outside, just keep hitting hard. Like, I got blocked. It's going to happen. It's fine. Just keep swinging because that's how you're going to score.
They had their middle go back at, I think it was 13-all, wasn't it, Alex? Our middle, which normally you're like, dang, you know, like only our bro or, you know, our center, like go back there and rip some serves. But Sanaya, the middle, she's got a wicked serve. And so it's like everyone else was probably thinking, oh, crap, you know, 13-all, their middle's going back. But we were pumped because she's got a pretty gnarly serve. So I thought that was kind of cool. Even I think our 17s coach was standing next to me and she was like, oh man, it's their middle. I'm like, no, she's got it. She's got a pretty gnarly serve. Yeah, so
I had a lot of trust in Sanaya, and I knew that.
Kate, were any of the 16s around, or did they already vacate the gym?
It was me. I think Charlie was there, and then everyone else had their flights to catch. Like, I think everyone's flight was at like 6. So even before we were playing Storm, we're all like, "Are we gonna make it home?" Like, I don't even know. And we're like, "No, it's focus in the game." But like, I don't know. Like, half the girls got like stuck in the airport, and like, I know our setter Marley, she got like stuck in the airport and didn't get home until like 5:30 in the morning. But she's supposed to fly out like that night, so like, it was a disaster. But
yeah. So you did get to see some of the match, or?
yeah, I saw the end of second and then the rest of the third set.
Oh, give us your thoughts on what took place.
I think like you said, the people there was crazy. It was like full of people. Like I couldn't find like a place to sit, so me and Charlie like sat in the concrete like behind people because we didn't like know where to sit. But like I mean, our 14s are so talented. Like Lexi, like you're crazy. Like you're so good. And like I think
Thank you.
you guys have like so much potential and like you played so well and like I think it was just such a fun game to watch and like it is so fun to like go support like our younger like teams and like it was just so fun to be there and like I think our setter Marley was at the game too. So yeah, it was just really fun to watch. It was like very competitive and I'd never seen A5 play and it was like they were like very physical, but I don't know. It was a really good match. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't want you to think like I was rooting against y'all. You know, I did have a coach this weekend tell me that their outside was like the best outside in the class behind Kari. And I was like, whoa, 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 let's slow up there a little bit, bud. And I started mentioning some other names, and you were one of them, Lexi. But and then after the match, Kara was like, that coach is crazy to think that his girl was the second best outside behind Kari. But we obviously won't mention names, but it was a fun little interchange to say the least.
Well, you all, I really appreciate your time tonight. It was great having you on. Thanks for coming on after an exhausting weekend, all of you.
Yes, thank you so much. It was super, super fun.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us. Thank you so much.
thank you.
For sure. All right, you all have a good night.
Thank you. You
Bye,
too.
everybody.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.